Well, as expected, the Dow drops 1,000 points. S&P 500 nears bear territory on Trump tariff market collapse. Now, the whole world has been really responding to these tariffs. Markets are collapsing, definitely in China right now. They've hit historic lows, Japan, India, but now the EU all of a sudden wants to make a good deal with the United States. In fact, I found this very interesting video where all of a sudden the EU really wants to make a fair deal, but the question we all have is, where was this deal before that you've made with other countries? Watch this very short clip.
We stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table. But we are also prepared to respond through countermeasures and defense.
So there you go. You know a threat is never good when you start with the, hey, we're willing to make a great deal like we do with every other country. Oh, but we're also going to do something really bad to you, if we don't get this deal going. I don't think Donald Trump is going to buy it. At the end of the day, the United States has way more power as far as economic power over the EU. And the question a lot of us seem to have is, if you have this 0 tariff policy with other countries or your other allies, why have you not done this for the United States? This is what's currently happening around the world. We are starting to see all of the countries who were giving the United States a really bad deal. We are starting to see their economy start to collapse because it turns out you were really screwing over the United States and you actually had no economic power. You guys were just getting free money from the US taxpayer. Now, check this out. This is actually a funny meme, and I was talking about this before with my buddies. This is from Tim Pool. Love him or hate him, this is a very funny meme. Trump is eating the rich and getting the left to cheer for private equity. What we're seeing right now are Democrats with the outrage of the stock market and the economy. It's quite an interesting change of things. It's almost as if this is like the Elon flip, where Democrats loved Elon Musk. Democrats were all about green energy, and then we had this flip where now Republicans love Elon Musk. What we're seeing is now Republicans are trying to get rid of the billionaires in these stock markets. Now you have Democrats who are supporting these billionaires indirectly by saying, hey, look at the stock markets, they're collapsing. Democrats and left-leaning media are really creating this false narrative as if these are blue-collar workers who are working in the stock exchange, really getting affected by this. Now, I'm not saying they're not getting affected by it, on the very, very low end of things, but directly right now getting affected by this are the billionaires in the stock market. So again, very odd to see the left-leaning media and Democrats really cheer or indirectly cheer for private equity now. This is quite hilarious. So this right here is an amazing clip. This is from Steve Grubber, and he really breaks down what exactly is going on way better than I can. You guys need to listen to this video because it's great.
Well, is it going to be Black Monday? Apparently it is. The stock market in Hong Kong down 13%. Markets here down dramatically as well. Global markets tanking. And they keep saying it's because of the tariffs. Now, is that true? One has to wonder. It seems to me that there's a correction going on that's been long overdue. And I said long before 2025 that we would have a recession in 2025, regardless of who got elected. Didn't matter. So my question to you is, do you still stand with Donald Trump? If you're a Trump voter, a Trump supporter, are you still with Donald Trump? I am. I'm going to see where this goes. Look, we had to level the playing field. Playing field's been disrupted and out of whack, if you will, for a very long time. Is this going to be one tool to fix it all? No. This is going to be one measure out of many.
And I have to stop right here. It is already working when on the day of, the EU all of a sudden wants to make a deal. They didn't want to make a deal when Donald Trump initially made the first threat of tariffs, but now that the EU is like, hey, we want to make a deal after they're realizing, hold on, America is kind of crazy here. Now they want to make a deal. This is the issue the Trump administration has, and if you are an American, you should probably also feel some kind of way that our allies that we work with and support, they are willing to screw over the U.S. taxpayer. Think about that for a second.
2025 is going to be a year of upheaval, but I believe that every time the market has gone down, every time we've had a market crash, 1987, 2009. You pick your recession, the really painful ones. We've always come back stronger, bigger, better. And maybe this time we're getting the table reset completely. You know, all this false hope and all this artificial enthusiasm because of money being pumped in by the government, that's gone now. That's gone. The COVID, the monopoly money from COVID, it's gone. I'm going to stand with Donald Trump. I voted for him. I trusted him, and I still do.
And look, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, it definitely is a tough position right now to be a Republican or conservative, because it's almost as if we are educating people who hate Donald Trump and what's going on right now. It's like you have to keep saying what this gentleman is saying. Well, hold on, there's a correction here. Our allies and trading partners, they gave us a really bad deal. And then you're met with that, well, I don't care because this is affecting us now. Again, when you look at the outlook of things, and I understand, even for me, I am very impatient. If our gas prices go up, which by the way, they're going down, but let's just say if the gas prices go up, we know Americans are like, hold on, we saw what egg prices did to America. Remember, everything else could definitely affect how Americans feel. But my point is, Republicans right now are not in the best position because you almost have to turn into the biggest Trump defender ever and say, yes, I did vote for this, and yes, there was an expectation where things could go wrong. But again, a lot of this is having to educate that we knew this was going to happen this whole time under Joe Biden. This was all fake money. This was not real. And now the market is correcting itself and showing the world, just so you guys know, this is actually how much money are in the world markets right now. Now, this is so important, and for some reason, the left-leaning media is not showing you past the last month of what's going on. First things first, already under Trump's economy, we were at the highest point ever. Were we ever talking about that? Absolutely not. Now, even with this drop, we are still at the highest point ever. Are we talking about that? Absolutely not. So the question is, are we just going for clickbait now? Is the media just trying to make some extra money because they were making no money under Joe Biden because Donald Trump was not around and we didn't have anybody to hate? I really question what exactly is going on. In fact, you can't even make this up. We are still in the green over here with the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ Composite still in the green. So this is not all what it seems to be as far as the outrage. And again, the other question I have is, why now all of a sudden do we see Democrats and left-leaning media, why are they now supporting these billionaires who are making money from the stock market? What is going on? This is such a weird twist of events that I am not able to comprehend why exactly there is so much outrage. I understand on the everyday level, if you are an average American, to include Republicans and myself, I get why we would be upset if this took like 2 months and nothing got fixed. Oh yeah, we would all be a little annoyed right now. But the fact you already have countries turning, the EU and others who are willing to make a deal, it makes you wonder what has been happening behind the scenes this whole time. But again, I find it so funny. We are still in the green. Of all time, we are up 589% of all time. So what exactly is Europe on about? What are these threats? What is this deal? What are they actually trying to do with the United States all of a sudden? And let me tell you something, the United States definitely has the upper hand right now. I really don't think Donald Trump would have engaged with the entire world or threatened the entire world's economy if he didn't know we had the upper hand. Again, we love to hear that Donald Trump is a failure of a businessman, but again, he's still a billionaire somehow. I wonder how that happened. So anyway, the EU remains prepared to engage and says the bloc's preference would be to find a negotiated solution. But again, you did hear they are prepared for a 0-for-0 tariff, which would change everything, by the way. But he then says that until now, despite of efforts, we haven't seen the real engagement, which would lead to the mutually accepted solution because it has to be fair for both sides. Trust me, Americans agree with the EU. It has to be fair for both sides. He says that there are questions from the US on VAT, which was repeatedly criticized by Trump, but he says the EU would not be prepared to change its rules. He then adds, we are ready to discuss to look at things, but it has to be a mutually advantageous solution. We all agree here. We are allies. We are prepared to fight and battle with you guys, and we have in the Middle East, in Iraq and Afghanistan. So we're here with you guys. But again, what happened? Why all of a sudden have we changed? On a slightly more upbeat note, that he hopes that sooner or later we'll be sitting at the negotiating table. I'm sure they are hoping this is very soon, by the way. And I hope that we'll be able to arrive at the mutually accepted compromise, which would restore our close trading relationship. He says the focus in any such talks would be on looking at the ways how to lower or to get rid of the tariffs. Trust me, we all agree. Again, why now all of a sudden do they care? Leave your comments down below. On cars and industrial goods in February, and we would focus on our efforts on that effort. How to create this transatlantic marketplace for industrial goods, for the technologies of the future, and for the good cooperation between two transatlantic allies. So again, you're seeing all this outrage, you're seeing the world is falling apart, but the EU got the message real quick. Okay, they're using words like our allies, transatlantic allies, talking about industrial goods. This is all a good thing, so we want this to happen. Now look, I do find this comical, although CNN is calling this a global markets plunge on Trump's tariffs turmoil. I find it very funny when you scroll down a couple news stories, countries from all over the world, including Japan, trying to negotiate, Trump says, as he digs in on tariffs. Again, this really is like an economic war here. This is the only way you could let your allies know we're not messing around. This is like an actual action here. And you know it's bad when you have people like Japan who are very close with the United States saying, you know what, let's make a deal. President Donald Trump said on Monday that countries from all over the world are talking to the United States after he announced reciprocal tariffs last week, and that tough but fair parameters are being set, specifically mentioning Japan. He spoke to the Japanese Prime Minister this morning. He is sending a top team to negotiate. They have treated the U.S. very poorly on trade. Trump wrote on Truth Social. They don't take our cars, but we take millions of theirs. Well, to be fair, just gonna be honest, and this is as being as truthful as I can, we know that the American auto industry, they need to up it. They need to get better. This is a problem I think we are going to face, is that, look, Chevy, Dodge, they're not that great. We're just being honest with you. People buy Hondas and Toyotas because they are better vehicles. So I think this is something we do have to have a real conversation about. I understand that we should be buying American cars. I would love to buy a Chevy. But if my Honda is going to last me 1,000,000 miles, if I just keep doing these oil changes, I'm going to be buying the Honda. So that is a real problem we do need to talk about. No disrespect to the auto manufacturers out there, but this is sort of the truth. Again, you keep scrolling down. White House trade advisor says Vietnam's offer for 0% tariffs means nothing. So it looks like Donald Trump is going to stand strong here. I'm really curious how you guys all feel about this. I'm trying to give you a real and raw reaction. This is currently what's happening as I make this video. This is as real as it gets. Donald Trump's team is not backing down, because now all of a sudden when you have these 0 tariffs, I almost am looking at it like as an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. You broke up with them because you wanted to fix all the issues while you were dating, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm willing to fix everything after you broke up with me? Okay. Oh, anyway, I hope you guys understand. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, but this is currently what's happening. I'm sure in the next 2 hours everything will change. So, God bless. We'll see you guys later, and peace.